Welcome back to episode 2 of Crazy Flashback. I'm still sick as I'm still sick as hell, but these plays are even more sick, so I'm excited to see what we're gonna be having for the rest of previous week. Heading into playoffs week, it's gonna be a big one, of course, so let's take a retrospective at how week 2 went. So starting off, of course, we had TransIP facing off versus MCon in the grudge match of the week. Prior to the season, we expected both of them to be the top 2, top 3 teams. Now with TransIP being a little bit iffy against Senshi in the first week and MCon being very dominating in their respective games, we expected MCon to be the favorite, but TransIP were able to pull it back. 2-1 was the scoreline as they already got their place in the playoffs. Then of course we had a one-man army facing off against Myth, who just came off a monster game versus Aurora with the 20 kill being dropped by none other than Space. But this time around it was a one-man army who actually are able to close that one out with a 2-0, I believe it was even. There we go, a 2-0 scoreline for them. So one-man army, TransIP already qualified for playoffs. Now on the other side of the bracket, we had a teams who went 0-1 in their first best of 3. So we had Senshi facing off against Once Upon a Team. Of course, Once Upon a Team, they looked pretty darn strong with being able to take a game away from a one-man army, and they did exactly the same here versus Senshi. 2-0 victory for them with a nice little Rengar pick that we're going to be highlighting later on. But Senshi, unfortunately, out of the tournament. My beloved, no more. They're gone. It is what it is. On the other side, we also had Aurora facing off against Jormungandr in what was a closer series than the score might let on. Aurora really leading in that first game, but unfortunately for them, they were not able to pull through. And Jormungandr, they got the comeback all the way in that first game. And the second game was a little bit less close as they took that victory. So with the way that things were looking right now, we had TransIP and we had a one-man army already locked in for playoffs. And then on our second day, we of course had, or third day actually, we of course had the 1-1 team play against each other. Myth versus Jormungandr, of course, was the first game that we were looking at, and Myth won that one fair and square. Jormungandr put up quite a good fight as one of the only remaining Div 2 promoted teams there, and they did their best. They got a game of Myth as well, and not just a simple one. They were pretty good in that game, but unfortunately for them, Myth were able to pull it back in that third game, bringing it to a 2-1 victory for them as they were the third team to join the rest of playoffs. And of course we had Once Upon a Team facing off against MCon, with once again MCon being the favorite there, even though they lost against TransIP. But Once Upon a Team, they didn't really just let it go like that. They made them sweat for it. I think a historical performance for this team, if you ask me. They had a history of kind of not being the greatest team in the league, but right now, with their tenacity, with how they were fighting, I think they demand respect, and they were able to get it from them. They faltered to MCon 1-2, but it was a great showing nonetheless from the entire squad of Once Upon a Team. MCon, the fourth team to join them in the playoffs, which are now looking like MCon, Myth, a one-man army, and of course TransIP. That also means we get to say goodbye to some of these teams from previous week. Senshi, Aurora eliminated in that first bracket, and then afterwards Jormungandr and Once Upon a Team moving aside as well. Now the first play I want to showcase here is of course Maru on that Rengar versus Senshi, showing off his mechanical prowess as he takes down Asa in a very difficult team fight for them, but a very pivotal one at that. After this one, they were able to break open the map and take over the game. And it started off with a nice mechanical play, as you can see.
Maybe walk in.
They're currently sitting in the bush here.
The
he jumps in, he has a thumb catch, so he does a lot of damage already, gets a lot of cooldowns. But here's the good part, you can see that Smoothie in trouble here. They're focused on him, but then Maru, a little bit of damage onto Asa. It's not over just yet, he might be CC, but all of a sudden,
quite some damage. The flash from Maru! On top of Kalista
he just takes out the biggest threat on the side of Senshi aside from Phoenix. Of course, Phoenix was able to dish out a lot of damage on top of our Once Upon a Team here, but you could see that even with that AoE damage, you expect the Kalista to come in and press the rent on all of these champs, with Maru simply too fast to be caught, and the Rengar, an amazing pick, a great pick. Let's move on to the next play. Now for these next couple highlights, of course, we have multiple clips from the legendary game between TransIP and MCon, game 3 here, to get a spot in the upper brackets. We're gonna go through all of them. It's gonna take a little bit of time, but it was a series for the history books. Really, truly one you should look at yourself. It all started off with a
We kijken
specific
naar
fight
of er een mogelijke
here
flank
in the
aanwezig
river.
is, want Hessedo
As
die
we
loopt
take
tegen
a
de
look
bal
at the
en
dragon being taken, but take a look at how this is played. The level is just really high. Hess finds a really good Nori ultimate into Guertas as well, but on the backline, Marty going in with an amazing shuffle. And then you see Guerta flashing on top of Afribi, who can't react in time, so perfect mechanical play, but then the immediate flash away from the wallop, as they are able to end up winning the fight thanks to Marty and thanks to Afribi playing to the top of their ability. Same could be said for everybody else, of course. Shibi being able to get that Skarner ultimate going there. Amazing play from them. Now moving on, we of course have the steal from Afribi as they just
dan komt Chibi er net niet bij. 3,
W
2,
de
1.
achterkant.
En dan is hij
This
gestolen!
seems bigger than you might think, because after that they also
Gewonnen
get a
door
kill
Afribi
on top of
en
Shogun. So once
TransIP.
again, mentally wise, amazing. Afribi truly the MVP together with Marty, I would say. And then this fight, I don't know, in my opinion, it was just very well played from almost everybody. The only one I wouldn't necessarily play it bad, but Rice couldn't do anything about it, because Shibi correctly flashing in to get the ultimate. As you see here already, the Rice doesn't let any sort of summoner,
moeten beschermd
so
worden.
he's
Maar
going to be
Chibi flasht
immediately
ervoor
taken
die
down.
wil
Now has
pakken,
to
maar
do
weer
his best to
suppress
try and
van
drag
die
away the
andere
wave here.
Spit er volledig.
Goes in with the
Die
Nor
Zero gaat er nog
ultimate,
in, maar de
doing his
suppress
best. Now
is zo
flashes in with
gigantisch
the wallop,
sterk.
everybody
Afribi
coming
kent
back,
niet
and
eens
then
op het
it's
killen van
knocked
champions.
uptown.
TransIP
As you can
weet
see,
het om
for a
te draaien.
second, they're
Daar is
thinking
de
they might be in
flankenbreak.
trouble, but then
Nog een paar
Afribi
hits op de
and
deze.
Jerky are able to finish this one off. And truly amazing to watch these plays unfold. It was a great series between these two teams, and that was it for the highlights of this week. Now heading into this next week, we're going to be starting off with MCon versus Myth here, which is going to be one of the grudge matches as well for a spot in the semifinals. And then on Thursday, we will be having ZenIT versus a one-man army for a spot in the finals. The loser will play against the winner of MCon versus Myth, and the winner will go straight towards the finals of the winter split here in the Road of Legends. It's gonna be one hell of a week. Yet again, we might have to say goodbye to a couple of our teams, but we might have to say bye to even more this week. We will have to say bye to even more this week. So, exciting days ahead. I hope you guys will tune in, because the quality of the games have been truly fun to watch. We'll see you guys there, and we'll wish you a nice week. Bye bye.